Cimoooooooo! What's going on, guys? It's Cimo, and I am so excited to bring you a top 4 Fire Kings deck profile. I took this deck to my locals, and I went 5-1, and let's just get right into it. I'm not going to waste any time. For all my Fire King lovers, this one's for you. So we start off with 2 copies of Fire King Hivatar Garunix. I'm really liking 2. I think 3 is way too many. I still managed to draw these fucking chickens, even though I only run 2, but it's okay, because having 3 is just way too cloggy. 2 is the perfect number. 3, Barong. Barong's the heart and soul of the deck. I'll let you search out your Onslaught, your Circle. You need him at 3. He just does so much for the deck. And then we got 2 copies of Yaksha. I went down to 2 to test it, because you don't really, if you don't have anything to destroy with Yaksha, having 3 is kind of useless. And I was actually really surprised that 2 worked out really well. And then to round out the Fire King monsters, we have 1 Fire King Avatar Garunix, or as I call him, Baby Garunix. I rarely got to use Baby Garunix. I was testing him just for more field presence, but I only drew into him a few times, and he never got destroyed. I usually won if I had him on the field just for attacking for a little bit extra damage. So yeah, I don't really have any comments on whether or not he would be effective or not. 1 bear. Bear is bear. Free monster pops. 1 Wolfbark. Wolfbark is just crazy for this deck since you run so many Beast Warriors. And then, I might get flack for this, but 2 Fire Hand and 2 Ice Hand. Now, I don't want to credit the hands for doing a whole lot, because the hands, most of the time, either got debunked or they got killed in a way that their effects didn't trigger. There's only maybe 3 times throughout the whole tournament where I got to special summon another hand from their effects, and I drew into multiple copies of them very often. So they were good, but they were not the reason that this deck is amazing. And then finally, 2 copies of Maxx C, just for extra draw power. I don't run Duality or Upstart or anything like that in this build, so I figured the extra draw power would be good. And plus, if I'm going second, it gives me a hand trap to possibly stop them from going completely off, maybe if it's Infernities or something like that. So that's it for the monster lineup. Then we have triple Onslaught of the Fire King. This card is just incredible. You know, you're searching out your Garunix, you're searching out really just anything. If you want to go into a rank 4 C, it's just such a good card. This card is just stupid. Then we got triple Tenki. You're going to search for your Yakshas, your Barong, your Bear, your Wolfbark. Really, whatever you need in a certain situation, it's your search power. Triple MST. This is really, this is good for a lot of their side cards, but mainly it's just there because triple MST is good. 2 Circle the Fire King. I'm still happy with 2, mainly because you're not running a completely all fire lineup. I think 2 is a good number, and especially one really cool thing, you can use this with Fire Hand. It doesn't specify that you need to have a Beast Warrior or anything like that. It's fire, so you could circle anything, circle Fire Hand into Garunix. It's just crazy. So many times I would use this, pop something on my field, bring Fire Hand back so that it would impede their play, because then they wouldn't want to attack the Fire Hand. And then I play 2 copies of Soul Charge. I don't run Rekindling in this deck, and my logic for that is, since I'm only running 2 Yakshas, I only have 5 targets for Rekindling, and I don't go off in this deck when I Soul Charge. I only Soul Charge for maybe 2 at the most. I mean, I could do more, but it never is to my advantage to do so. I'm usually Soul Charging to get Garunix live, or just for some sort of Exceed play. So I thought Soul Charge was the better choice, rather than doing 1 Soul Charge, 1 Rekindling. And a lot of the times I would draw Rekindling in testing, and I would not have any way to use it, because all my other monsters would not have 200 or less defense. So 2 Soul Charge was the better choice. 1 Book of Moon, it's just amazing offensive, defensive spell. 1 Dark Hole, if it's Fire Kings, you run Dark Hole. And 1 Mind Control. This card put in so much work today. I took Infernity Archfiend against my Archfiend matchup and just Exceed with it. I just did crazy stuff with Mind Control today. That's for the spells. And then I play 8 One of Traps. 1 Black Horn of Heaven. Black Horn of Heaven is amazing. 1 Bottomless. one Call. Call is used for mainly Garunix, but one cool thing about Call is that if they MST or face down Call, you can chain it, bring back any of your Fire Kings, and then let Call destroy the Fire King, and then it'll get its effect. So, one Compulse, Memory of an Adversary, still the MVP of the trap lineup, in my opinion. I stole Polites today. I stole so many different things with this card that people were not expecting it, and people were just getting so annoyed when I stole this card, when I used this to steal any of their monsters. It was amazing. I stole Heartland Drago. Oh my god, it was ridiculous. One Needle Sealing. I was testing Needle Sealing kind of like as a way to destroy my own monsters to get their effects if they attempt to spam the field. It was okay. I used it against Constellars. I think that was the only time I actually got it off. Oh, and Thunder Family I got it off too. But yeah, it was alright. One Warning and one Torrential. So that's it for that. Let's go to the extra deck real quick. One Dweller. I did not make Dweller. Actually, I made it once against Infernity, just because I could steal his monster. And I used Ice Hand for it too, so he was 2200, so that was pretty great. One Tiger King. I actually did not go into Tiger King at all this week. Kagutsuchi I went into once when the field was just, we were top decking, and I made Kagutsuchi, so he basically had no way to get over it. Diamond Dyer, didn't make him. I actually managed to pull an Exciton Knight from a blister pack, which that in itself is amazing enough, but this guy put in work. Against the Infernity player, I made Exciton when he had 101. So it nuked he chained Infernity Break to Exciton's effect. So Exciton died, and then Exciton nuked the field. He had his 101 left with no materials. So then I onslaughted the Fire Kings for a Garunix. I attacked his 101, and at that point he was just top decking because he had no cards in hand because playing Infernities, and yeah, and then he lost because he could not get rid of Garunix. It was incredible. Cowboy, I actually did not Cowboy anyone for game this week. Maestroke, didn't use him. Black Ship Corn, didn't use him. Rhapsody and Berserk, holy crap, people need to play this card. I played Dark Worlds, and I made this and banished both of my opponent's Graphas from his grave, and he basically cried because he could not do anything once I did that. Heartland Drago, I made him, but he got Bottomless, unfortunately, and that would have been game if he didn't have that. Crazy Box didn't make him. 101, I think I made him once. Ragna Zero didn't make him, unfortunately. I needed him. Papal Operative didn't make him, and Roach did not make him. For the side deck, DD Crow. DD Crow, I did not need this because I remembered I had Rhapsody and Berserk, but it was good that I had it because I used him in the Dark World matchup, and I won because of it. One Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. I have a bunch of Chainburn players at my locals, and I have, this is for like Trap Tricks hands or hat or anything like that, because, what's it called? Trap Trick Shrapple Nightmare does not affect this card. It'll destroy Phoenix, and then it'll just come back and nuke the field again. So this was kind of just for any super back row heavy decks. And then everything else is trapped. A second Blackhorn just for XC heavy decks. Double DNA Surgery, just for Prophecy, Bujins, really anything like that. One Eradicator, like I mentioned earlier, Prophecy, Chainburn, Full House, back row heavy decks, Fire Fist, Bujin. Double Iron Wall, this is a defensive side deck card against their side so that my stuff doesn't get banished. It actually worked, too, because I used this to protect my Garunix in Game 2 against Constellars. Double Light Mirror, Constellars, Bujins, Thunder Family, just anything like that. Double Mind Crush, I didn't use them, but it was just there for, like, Fire Fist and, oh, Infernity, too. I actually did side him in Infernity. I lied. And then Double Shadow Mirror. I told you I have Dark World players at my locals, and then, just Dark can just be sometimes annoying. Evilswarm matchup, that's what it is. Evilswarm. There is an Evilswarm player, and he made top 4 as well, so. Yeah, pretty good deck, I got to admit. It did its job. Round 1 was Fire Fists. He main decks Debunk, and he drew nuts because he debunked both my Garunixes, both game 1 and 2. So, yeah, I went 0-2 in that first game. And then after that, I just went on a tear. Game 2 was against Thunder Family. which these bad boys came in and they just pretty much made his day horrible. Game 3 was against Constellars, and once again, these two, that's all I needed. I did really well against Constellars, actually. I was kind of unfamiliar with the matchup. I know how the deck works, but I haven't really tested Fire Kings against it. It worked. It performed pretty well. I was pleased. Round 4 was Dark World, and going on to the other side, we're just going to throw these in. Like I said, the Rhapsody in Berserk against Dark World, that deck can kill Grapha so well. And then round 5 was Infernity, and Infernity, like I said, Exciton was the king right there, because we had the longest game 1, I think. It almost went into time for how long our game 1 was, but once I got the Exciton out, that was the end of it. And then, so that was 5, yeah, so that was 4-1 in Swiss, and then top 8 was against the same Dark World player I played in round 4, and again, Rhapsody and Berserk, and then DD Crow. DD Crow won me the second game because he only had 1 Grapha, and I drew DD Crow, and when he went to go make his play, I'm just like Crow, and then he just scooped. And then we just all split top 4. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you'd like to see anything different in this build, or if you have any questions about the Fire King build in general. And thank you guys so much for watching the video. We'll see you next time.